Good morning, this is Mona and this is my morning view. Today, spring edition 2025. Don't remember the date. It's Fiesty Friday though. We remember that. Fiesty Friday. So today, spring edition 2025, it's Fiesty Friday. And today, I'm going to get a little bit political. Not in the sense that you think I am. All right. Current events. Current events are enough to get a person feisty, especially when you start talking back to the news. Becoming your own broadcaster. So, in the news. 3 things are in the news right now that caught my attention. One is an airplane fell from the sky. First time of that kind, killed over 200 people. Seemed like a little blurb in the news this morning. We saw it on YouTube yesterday, and listened to a couple of people that we follow that commentate on those things. People that know their stuff. Okay. In the news, Israel strikes Iran, trying to eliminate the threat of nuclear power for them for war purposes. Seemed unprovoked. However, Iran has this continual speech that says that they want to eliminate Israel from the face of the earth. So it is always an imminent threat to them. Okay. I'm not going to speak on either one of those 2 things. I am going to speak about the immigration protests, because those are high profile in the news right now. And, well, I kind of got something to say for Fiesty Friday. For one, when the last administration opened borders, it kind of wasn't illegal because they opened the borders. So a lot of people thought that they were welcome here, especially when they got free lots of other things. Free lots of other things so that when disaster struck for our citizens, there was no money for them. So that's a little upsetting to much of the American populace. New administration comes in, they close the borders. Okay, we need to have secure borders. It's biblical that our borders should be secure. However, when going after all the people that came in, you know, the really bad guys, the ones that really want ill will for the U.S., they're hiding. You don't know they're here. They didn't jump on the free stuff, because if they jumped on the free stuff, then they would be known. Their position, who they, you know, maybe not who they are, because they probably would have come under false, you know, aliases and such. They're hiding. They're the real bad guys. In the meantime, the authorities are coming in and just snatching people. In our local area, not my town, but our county and the surrounding counties, there has been U.S. citizens picked up. There has been veterans picked up and sent back to their home country. When you served the U.S. forces, they grant you citizenship. There's this process that you go through, and you sign saying, hey, I'll fight for the country if I can get citizenship. Well, here it is. Here's a veteran, and they're being shipped off back to his home country. That doesn't look good. There are people being picked up who have paperwork in process. They have paperwork in process. And they're getting picked up. It's kind of irritating those people who are for expediting illegals back to their own country, because we can't take care of our own. If we cannot take care of our own, why are we open-armed to everybody in the world? We want to be open-armed. So don't get me wrong here. I address one part of it, and then I address the other part of it. So we don't want illegal. Notice the word illegal. Okay. There's a lot of cartel who have moved over into here to be able to filter through drugs and such, money laundering, people trafficking, etc. When the open borders, there was more people trafficking happening during that time than probably any other time. And I'm not saying combined. I'm just saying in general. It was a free-for-all for people trafficking, sex trade. People were desperate to get to the United States. People lost family members. The cartel basically stole from them to get them safe passage, and it wasn't always safe. And there was no guarantee they wouldn't get picked up and returned. So there was a lot of money exchanged. There was a lot of hurt people trying to get here. They wanted to be here. They should not be able to vote unless they are U.S. citizens. Period. A lot of people got rich off of their backs. Exploited them. And in the meantime, the bad guys are in hiding. The government doesn't know they're there. You may be sitting right next to somebody and not know that they're there and who they are and why they're here for. But they're certainly not out stirring up trouble now. They're not the ones out there. You might have some gang members. So gang members are they've come over as well. You have the low profile people that may be stirring up problems. And what do I say by stirring up problems? I'm not talking about protest. I have no problem with people protesting. What I have a problem with is vandalism. Now, I don't know if looting is any part of it. As far as I know, there's been no looting. Like in Black Lives Matter, there was looting along with everything else. But there's been arson. There has been violence, as they're throwing rocks at passing vehicles. So in that sense, there is civil unrest. And with civil unrest, you need to bring in the authorities. Okay, they tried the local government. Didn't work. They tried the National Guard. Didn't work. They're bringing in the Marines. At first, I was telling my husband, I go, wait a minute, was martial law called? Because I was thinking, you're not getting the Marines there without martial law, it being martial law, right? Wrong. He looked it up. There is complete legal status for sending in the Marines from Thomas Jefferson. That far back. Thomas Jefferson. My husband was thinking it was because of the January 6th insurrection, which, by the way, had Antifa exciting the crowd because that's what they do. I don't think they're Republican or Democrat. I think most of them are registered Democrats, but that's my opinion. But I think anywhere that there is tension, they go in to manipulate the crowd. And when they manipulate, they're good at it. They train for this. They get compensated for this. So they go in and they manipulate the crowd to get the crowd all riled up to do something that they probably wouldn't have done without that. Without that. So Antifa's there. Antifa was in January 6th. Antifa was in Black Lives Matter. When you have a country divided almost in half, and it can be swayed by something happening, and I think part of what got swayed in November was the disasters that were taking place, and there wasn't anything there for them. I think that was a big factor in how the vote went. So during January 6th, the last administration wanted to make sure that there was systems in place that if they needed to take care of some civil unrest of some sort, they would have this act that they could enact, and then it would be fine. It was a legal way of doing something. But in the meantime, Thomas Jefferson, way back when, had already done something for cases like this. I'm still not settled with the Marines going in. Still not. No. This is my reasoning why. It's one thing for the local police, sheriff, law enforcement, your local law enforcement, to come in to make sure that civil unrest is resolved. Because they're used to dealing with the public at large. They don't look at them as their enemies. They look at them as, well, we need to take care of the situation. It's circumstantial. With their jobs. It's nothing personal in it. There might be some personal in it. But that would be personal. Individuals. But for the most part, they're used to dealing with their local public. The National Guard is to help those in the United States, and they've been sent out as if they were military quite a lot lately. And they are to help out in cases like this. More than likely, they're called out for emergency crisis, not civil unrest. But they are. You know, the last time there was a calling out for civil unrest was in 1967, I believe. 67, 69. I want to say that the riots in Atlanta. Don't quote me on that one. But it had to do with civil injustices, and they wanted to make sure they squashed it. It was a different era back then. It really was. But the tensions are getting just about as high. That is not peace, people. That is not peace. When you're like hardcore set on this and you only want to believe this, or you're hardcore set on that and you only want to believe that, without getting the whole picture. This affects people that live in the United States. There are people that have family members here. They have people that are family members that are citizens or have visas. So there are people here in the United States that it affects the citizens. So, of course, they're upset. And in the Bible, it talks about, in the Old Testament, and it would be probably more so if it was in the New Testament, about how you are to treat a foreigner. You basically kind of treat them like family. You got family coming in from Washington State, 3,000 miles away. Here, have a bed. Here's some dinner. Here's some chow. You know? You set them up as guests. Now, there are a few things that they have to sustain from or practice while they're there, because like any guest should respect their host. They should respect their host. So there are things that they need to do while they're traveling through. Laws that need to be abided by. Practices that they didn't have to go get circumcised, people. They didn't. But you treated the guest, you treated the traveler like the guest, the foreigner like a guest. We have not been very hospitable. Okay, we were a little bit too hospitable with the last administration. I was a little bit too hospitable, because you do not neglect your own to take care of someone else. That's mismanagement of funds. But that doesn't mean that you don't take care of the foreigner. So as you can see, this is not a once and done issue. This is not, oh, they're wrong. It isn't. Politics wants to make it bigger than it needs to be. Both sides. Politics makes it bigger than it needs to be. And then you have those that incite, stir up the agitation. You're already upset. You're already angry because you're only seeing it from your perspective. You're only seeing it this way, and you don't want to see it any other way. And it doesn't take a whole lot. You are already tender, ready for the match. You're already tender, ready for the match. Because you're not seeking peace. You're seeking your own way. You want things your way. Because in today's society, it's not fact that people care about, it's opinion. And if your opinion is this, then it's fact. And you will have a very unrestful, unpeaceful life if that's how you want to live. The chances of getting deported are much higher when you are picked up for rioting. If you are going to sit there and burn the American flag, it means you don't want to be here. So go home. Ooh, that was feisty. You burn the American flag, get out. You don't love America, get out. Why are you here? To pillage? To take what you can get? You're flying your home country flag with pride after you burn our flag. Get out. That happened during 9/11. 9/11, right here in our own county, in our county seat. An entire street was dancing in the streets, waving their Middle Eastern flags. Thinking, yay, 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 we got the U.S. now. Get out! Get out of my country. Yes, it's my country. I know a lot of people that are here that are not American citizens. They're here on visas. I know a lot of people that are trying to get citizenship. Not all these people with visas are trying to get citizenship. They like it here and they continue their visa, which is fine. I know a lot of people here that are foreigners. I like them. I like their children. I don't want to see them go. When they move away, I'm sad. People of different nationalities, different faiths, but I like them. But if you don't like this country, stop wasting our resources. We shouldn't have to send in anybody other than the local authorities to take care of an issue if you don't like it here. And that is my Feisty Friday. That's my Feisty Friday. It's political. It is. And a lot of high tensions on both sides. And I'm not agreeing with both sides. There are things that I understand concerning both sides. So don't get on me and say, oh, she's a this and she's a that, when you don't even know. I mean, most of you know what political party I belong on, but it doesn't mean I agree with everything in my political party. This is part of it. I agree to a certain extent, but I don't always agree on how they handle things. And I don't have the whole big picture either. I come here because peace is highly valued. Peace is highly valued. And this is anything but peace. And when you get caught up in the narrative that's going on either side, you lose your peace. You lose your peace. And that's why it's a Feisty Friday. I don't want anybody to lose their peace. Most people struggle holding on to their peace. It doesn't have to be a struggle. Doesn't mean you do it perfectly. I don't do it perfectly. I had a string of cuss words come out of my mouth on Monday morning when I hit the back of my head on the nightstand. In my half-conscious state. Revealing what was in here. Instead of thanking God, oh, thank God I don't have a concussion. Thank God I didn't bust my skull open. So it's not done perfectly. But there are certain things we can control. Like maybe turning off the TV. Click. Okay, we know that things are going on in different parts of the country. Some are copycats. It started in LA. The rest of it's all copycat. They got all worked up watching the news. We got to do something here too. No, you don't. You can protest. I'm not saying you can't protest. I'm saying you can do it peaceably. Peaceably. If you can't do it peaceably, don't do it. If there's somebody there inciting the riot, go home. Go home, walk away. Say, hey, I'm with you on a peaceful protest. But if you want to go that direction, if it wants to go south, I'm heading north. Because I'm not getting involved with violence. I'm not getting involved with rioting. I'm not getting involved with that type of behavior. All right. For those of you who are on YouTube, subscribe right there. Subscribe. For those of you who are on Facebook, go over to my YouTube page, Mona E. Harrison, and subscribe right there. Like, comment, share, notifications, get all the bells and whistles. And even if you don't agree, you can comment. Keep it civil. Do not come out from your opinion. If you want to say something's illegal, make sure you look it up to find out whether it was illegal. If you have your opinion about something, you can state your opinion, but note that it is your opinion only, because this is my page. And I will not have someone incite arguments. You can have discussion. Discussion is welcome. All right. That is my warning on this Feisty Friday. All right. Blessings, everybody. Have a great weekend. And I will see you to my jolly old self, hopefully, on Monday. If I don't crack my head open, I probably will not. I am pseudo-aware now that the dog may try to trip me while I'm trying to turn off the alarm in the morning, in the dark. It's getting lighter out. I might be able to see her if I open up my eyes. Oh. All right, so have a great day. Blessings, everybody.